Hello and welcome to Magrathea Builder Worlds. This is a Middle-earth strategy battle scenery build for the Scarinus Shire campaign. However, I could have started this video. Hello and welcome to Magrathea Builder Worlds. This is a Burrows and Badgers scenery build. Or I could have started this video. Hello, and welcome to Magrathea Builder Worlds. This is an Ark World scenery build. Yes, that's right. This is part of my Scarinus the Shire campaign series, but this build would work perfectly well for B&B, Ark World, and possibly a whole bunch of other tabletop games as well. Certainly Warhammer, the old world, if you like, and tabletop role-playing games like D&D and Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay, that kind of thing. Why? Well, because I'm about to make a new addition to the playlist of Magrathea, builder of pubs, taverns and alehouses as well. This is about the Green Dragon. Yes, it is. This video is sponsored by Iron Gate Scenery, without whom's help it probably wouldn't have happened. I'll tell you why. So, Iron Gate Scenery are a 3D printing company, which doesn't necessarily sit very well with a lot of what Magrathea is all about, you might think. If you've been watching this channel from the early days, you'll know that I dabbled with 3D printers for various things. Had my own for a while, resin and filament, which I've now passed on to people who do a much better job than me, frankly. And most people know that I'm mostly about scratch building scenery, although those of you who watch my Necromunda videos especially know that I am quite happy to use plastic kits, mainly GW, to base scenery builds around. I do a lot of kit bashing. 3D printing, on the whole, has taken a lot of the pain away for a lot of people for making terrain for war games, and for that I think it's great. In the same way that I think that MDF terrain is in danger of making a lot of what we have put on our tabletops homogeneous, I think that you should use 3D printed stuff with caution. I certainly don't want to be playing games where absolutely everything is 3D printed, but you can get some really cool 3D printed stuff. And nowadays that can really help you get on. I've got to get over myself, if you like, about the fact that everything's got to be built by me by hand to go on my tables. Nonsense. I'm never going to get all the gaming done that I want to do if I wait to build absolutely everything by hand, scratch build from the start with all the raw materials and make videos about them. So sometimes you have to kick in and use other things. Now, Iron Gate Scenery I have been aware of for well, at least 5 years, certainly since I've been working on this channel, and since my channel launched during the pandemic. And initially I was buying stuff from Iron Gate Scenery, which was mainly scenic accessories, you know, market stalls and things that were going on market stalls. I distinctly remember way back when in the Burrows and Badgers days when I was making stuff for Benfleet, that I got a bunch of stuff from Iron Gate Scenery which were kind of like fish market stuff, so lobster pots and various other bits and pieces, trays of fish, that kind of thing. So I've been using IGS stuff for a long time, and like printers themselves, Iron Gate Scenery's products have got much better in the last few years. Not surprisingly, because you know the amount of time they can put into printing is ace, and the quality of the prints and that you can achieve nowadays on better and better printers are quite extraordinary. Gone are the days of having to get a model which is just all print lines and you have to sit and fill it and sand it and do all that kind of thing. So much stuff now is ready for you to just undercoat and put on a tabletop, which is absolutely awesome. One of the things that Iron Gate Scenery has done more and more of in the last few years is print under license scenery from other companies and designers. The stuff that I'm going to talk about today, the model that we're going to look at today, is from Dark Realms, and it's an absolute cracker. And not only do Iron Gate print stuff under license themselves, they also offer printing services. So if you own STLs, you can negotiate with them, I suppose. I don't know, I haven't really looked closely into it, to get them to print your STLs. They certainly will do things like print STLs of figures, wargaming figures and role-playing figures that you make on sites like Hero Forge. Anyway, back to what we're doing today. At Salute this year, in April of 2025, I managed to get away from our gaming tables for a brief amount of time, and I drifted to the Iron Gate scenery stand, and I picked up some hobbit houses. This one for a start, plus this one and a couple of others. They weren't painted like this, they were just clean prints. You can get completely painted and ready, tabletop ready models from IGS, but obviously I like to do that bit myself. Now the reason why I bought those is because I knew I'd been desiring to get on and play this campaign for some time now. I finally got to the point of acknowledging that I'm never going to play this campaign if I had to wait until I had built fully sculpted Shire tables. I needed stuff that I could get on and play with quickly, especially as a lot of the games, scenarios in that campaign are played on 2-foot by 2-foot boards. Having a few hobbit houses that I could just put on would be really handy. Of course, I got those in April and didn't do anything with them for months. I had a chat with a chap called Jordan on the IGS stand about this is what my plan was, and Iron Gate are aware of me, have been for a good few years now, which is very cool. And then at Colours in September, again, I managed to peel myself away from the gaming table that we had there for a little while, and I ended up at the IGS store because I was really intrigued actually by some of the new little scenery bits that they do, which have got LEDs built into them, kind of like braziers and statues with glowing things, and they were really cool, and I got my eye was caught by those. But then Jordan got his phone out and said, would you like one of these? And I looked at the thing, I said, hell yes I would, and of course I'll happily make a video about it. And then at Partizan in October, Jordan and another person from IGS, sorry fella, I don't know your name, arrived at my table with not one, but 2 cardboard boxes of printed stuff. This is absolutely epic. This is a Halfling Tavern, which, frankly, is just brilliant. Well, I hope so. I mean, it looks just brilliant at this stage. And what we're going to do is we're going to have a look at it. I'm going to talk to you about my agony with this model, because there are a couple of issues. Mainly, so big, I'm not quite sure where I'm going to put it. And then we're going to put it together, paint it, and see how else we can kind of like make it work for a tabletop. So, without any further ado, I'm going to bring the camera over here, and we're going to get out all the components for this model, and I'm going to show you what I mean when I talk about how cool it is. All right? Good. Come over here. I'll put these boxes down. Going to unpack it. There we go. 2 boxes of components, right? Large, big printed bits. So let's get it out first of all and see how it goes together. I think there are 18 main parts to this model, all right? But we'll have a look. This is roof. This is building. I hope we've got enough room on the desktop. So now, what there aren't many instructions necessarily for this, how it goes together. I think I got one of the very first prints of this. I certainly didn't have it on their website when it got brought to me. I know it has been added to their website since, which is pretty cool. Conveniently, it's got little nubby bits, yeah, that hold it together, and the holes kind of match up on the other side, and they are unique to the pieces, so it can only fit together one way. So it's really a case of finding the bits that go together and how it matches up, with the exception of one part. The clues, they're also clues because of the way different walls work, and this bit over here I think is the bit that doesn't actually go together at all. And now, yep, see, I knew it wouldn't have enough space on my little workbench. There we go. How are we doing? Coming on. Get rid of that box. Where the fuck's it going there? That's that one. That must do that one there. That must go there like that. I think it's really cool. The doors open. The nice window. It's a great shape room. Really interesting. It's not an exact copy of the Green Dragon in Bywater from the Lord of the Rings movies, but it's damn close. It looks pretty cool. There we are. So there is the actual main layout of the model. Let's zoom down here so you can see this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 pieces so far. plus all the doors that open, which is really, really cool. I'm super excited about this. We'll have a closer look in a minute. And then roofs. Now I'm going to cheat. I've cheated here a bit, I think I've cheated here a bit. I mean, I could be completely wrong, but I think that one goes on there like that. And then, I don't know what number that is. That's 1A, that's 2, 1. See, I numbered it, and it still doesn't fucking help. That must go over there. Go over there. That's 2A, that's 5A. 5A, 5A to 5A. Oh, look, and again, you can see the really big nubby bits here and the holes in there. So that does join together nicely like that. So I'm thinking that's going on there. I'm not putting it firmly in place right now. That's 5B. It goes down the end there. Multiple chimneys, multiple fireplaces, thatch roof. I'm not going to lock it all in place. That bit there must be the middle bit then, because that matches up like that. Yes, it does. Great print, because I mean it all just slots together. It's bloody amazing. That bit must do that bit like that. Yep. I'm guessing that bit goes over there. Alright. That's an end bit. Yep. And that is an end bit as well. Nice. Let's bring the camera down and have a closer look. Get rid of that box. The first issue I've got then is this model. It ends up being so big that it's tricky to get it all in one shot. Let's just find a tape measure. And this is the next issue. It's a nice issue to have, but if you go across here to here, diagonally across the model, this says 28 inches or 71.5 centimeters, and front to back it is about 14 3/4 inches. It is a monster of a model, but it's absolutely brilliant. It is the Green Dragon Inn. Now I'm going to take the roof off for a minute and we'll have a look at the inside of the model. So I'm going to break it apart again. I'll come back to the roof and talk about the roof again in a moment. The printing of the main bits of the model are absolutely fabulous. I could take any single piece. Let's have a close-up look at just this end bit here. This is filament printed, but it's beautiful. I could literally paint that quite happily as is. Undercoat it, paint it straight away. There are a few tiny layer lines on the inside of the model, but actually that makes no odds at all. In fact, it will give it a bit of texture for when you're painting it, because it kind of looks a bit like plaster. But the actual quality of the print is fantastic. So we've got, room-wise, I think I'm going to take the camera actually off the tripod for a minute. But bear in mind that I haven't stuck any of this together, but we have got, starting here, we have the main, we have a bar, and we have a room next to the bar, or a private room, snug. There's only one doorway into it. Then we have the kitchen at the back of the, out the back of the bar, through an opening door, and this must be the main lounge or tap room, right? So you enter through this large door here. There's a double door at the back as well. Fireplace over here, second fireplace down here. This is all one really nicely shaped room here. If we go through the lounge bar here, we get a second room back here. We enter through an archway which is double-sided, which is fabulous. Another fireplace here, and then down to the end, a private room with another fireplace as well. All with different interesting floors. So we've got wooden floors here, and then stonework through here. And then if we go through this archway, we come into this second area space, and then with two rooms at the back, which could be snugs or they could be bedrooms. It's absolutely brilliant. There are nice big open windows, very hobbity windows, and there is let's have a look. There's a door in here into the main bar, a door out the back, which, as you can see, have got opening doors which are really cute. A door opening door from the bar into the kitchen area out the back here, door into the backyard over here, and another side door over here. It's a very, very versatile layout. I like it very much. Close look at the roof. We've got windows up here in the roof here. As you can see, it's all textured like thatch, which is pretty neat. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 chimneys which correspond with the fireplaces underneath. It completes the model really nicely. So there were 9 bits on the ground floor, and then there's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So okay, so that's 17 individual bits of this model. It looks really, really neat. It's huge. It's going to take up a large space on the tabletop. I'm very, very happy with it, just at the first instance. The roof, all the painted textures, all the surfaces you see are fabulous. Underneath some of the roof sections, you do see some printing bits here. Now, this is partly down to the fact that I think that this one was printed for me to get it done for Partizan, so I don't know if the M ones will come to you, but this makes no odds at all because this is the underside of the model and nobody's looking at it. The actual bit that you're using looks fantastic. So yeah, that's the kind of like the thing. Now what we'd have to do is consider a few things. Clearly this is a very key model in my humble opinion. I really like the look of it. If I were to make this from scratch, it would take hours. The fact that it's come like this is a great time saver, and sometimes I have to kind of like suck it up and just go with the time savers. It's going to look brilliant on the table, and it's quite a flexible model. If you're going to the effort and the expense to get a model like this, you need to use it quite a lot. And for me, this model is going to feature in the Scour and the Shire campaign that we play. It's going to be the Green Dragon in Bywater, and the last scenario in the Scour and the Shire is the Battle of Bywater, although actually the table of the Battle of Bywater in the game is going to fit on, actually that's too big because it's supposed to be played on 2 foot by 2 foot, but the number of figures in that last game, 3 foot by 3 foot, and having the Green Dragon on one side of it will look really cool, so that's definitely going in there. For Arkworld, I have a Halfling warband from the settlement of the small town of Bakewell. This is my warband so far. And the Green Dragon in Bakewell is definitely going to be the headquarters, I think, of the Bakewell Militia. This model is so big, you can play a game entirely around it, frankly. You don't need anything else on the table. I am going to probably put a stable out the back of it as well. So by the time you've got the inn and supporting buildings, you won't need anything else to play a game. It'll be pretty cool. For Burrows and Badgers, I think it'll work really well as a rural kind of inn or tavern. Massive beasts like badgers and beavers would struggle to get inside it, of course, but smaller creatures like mice and rabbits and squirrels, they'll have a lovely time in there. I can't wait to get this model painted up and get some B&B figures in front of it. So that's how I see it kind of like being used. So having said that, let's consider the issue. The issue is quite clear. The colour, if you want to consider it the elephant in the room. And the elephant in the room is the fact that it's the size of an elephant in the room. It's 28 inches from here to here and about 14 or 15 inches here. Now my original plan with the Lord of the Rings campaign was that I was going to build loads of really sweet terrain, all sculpted, moulded and kind of individual terrain boards. This model was going to be one of them. And that's fine, apart from one thing, and that is the sheer size of it. Where the hell am I going to store these things? I wanted to make new modular terrain boards, and that's fine, apart from the fact that the Games Workshop Realms of Battle boards that I've acquired recently are 2 foot by 2 foot, and this is bigger than that. And my old modular boards are 3 foot by 18 inches, so that would probably work. In fact, I've got one over here. Let's put it on it and see how it will fit. Okay, so this is a 3 foot by 18 inch battlefield piece from my old school modular battlefield. And as you can see, obviously, it fits on there. And in some ways, it would make absolute sense to make it and on one of these and keep it there. But actually I've really wanted to get rid of these boards or change them up recently. I don't want to be building on these. And the other thing is then is if I do that and I put the roof on it, then I've got to find somewhere for this to live permanently, and it's bloody massive. The other problem is my terrain that I have otherwise goes in really useful crates. And they are, this is too big to fit in a really useful crate in one piece. So I'm going to have to come up with a cunning way of making this fit or do something with it. So I'm thinking that I'm going to mount it on some hardboard. And I'm going to have to make it into at least 2 pieces, possibly 3. So I have the middle section mounted on one bit of board, and that'll be cool because that'll give me space out the front here. If I do that, I can have kind of like, I could do enough modelling on there. Then I've got to cut it perfectly so then these two will butt up against each other really nicely and lock together. This one is fine because this side actually hasn't got any locking pins on it at all, so it will just, I just have to make it so it lines up. This side I could get rid of the locking pins, although I could have that there, and that'll work. And then the roof I'll do in 3. I could do all as one piece or in 3 sections. Now in some ways this board, this terrain piece is so big, actually I could do with having the roof in 3 sections, because then I could remove just one bit of roof if I'm moving figures around on the inside and not all of it. So I think that's what I'm going to do. I think I'm going to plan at least stick these 2 bits together permanently. That would kind of like make sense, and base them on a board that goes flush with this edge. So that then, and then I'm going to probably, and what's cool is because this has got its own separate wall, I could then quite happily put this on a thing which has got a flush base that goes along here and along this side. But it'll be neat because then that bit there out here, the front can be sculpted terrain, and then round the back I can have it come out and it can be sculpted terrain on there and there. So that will be a neat rectangle, which will be fine, and then have this as a separate piece as well. It's a really nice conundrum to have. Thanks, Jordan. I'm going to enjoy doing this, and we're going to see how it goes. Now, looking at it carefully, I can see some more print lines in here, but again, I really think they're just going to look fine painted up as plaster. And I am loving just the quality of this build, and even things like the doors and stuff like that. These are really cool. They are. Let's bring this over here so we can have a look at this. Have a look at this piece up close. Right, this is from the main lounge bar, the entrance to both sides of the tavern. So we've got doors here and doors at the back, which are really cool. Nicely sculpted wood on the inside. We've got a fire on the inside. That actually, you know what? There's holes down the back here. And I'm always tempted to drill some holes in the back there and be able to drop like a red LED or something down there to light up the fireplace. That might be fun to do that. Nice is that we need a little bit of trimming just under the archway in here, but it's really nice. The floors, really nice texture, look really cool. The doors, although I didn't stick these ones in, they were already in when they arrived, are just done with a bit of filament, printer filament that's straightened out and put in, and that acts perfectly well as the hinges there. And it's really cool. So I mean, from that point of view, and again taking another piece, this is the piece with the bar. The bar's not very big. I mean, from the size of the establishment, it's quite a small bar, which means that there must be quite a queue at the bar. But again, nice little door to the back, and a door from the kitchen. And that kitchen could be equipped quite nicely. But this really is crying out for an RPG game to be played in it as well. So from that point of view, right, I think what we need to do is stop talking for a minute and get on. We need some hardboard to make the bases. Yes, we do. Next big question at the moment is, do we have any hardboard in stock? Harumph. Okay, so this is the roof, and as you can see, this at the minute this is just being held together with the pegs that slot together. So I could make it all in one go, but again, like the fact that I think I'm going to separate the separate bits, the roofs, I think, do pretty much cover the sections that I want to actually build separately. Not that it matters too much, because you know, as I take them off, and what I can then do is decide whether I want to use the big locating pins to put the main parts together or not. There we go. Or whether I take them off. It does have a bit of overlap, which is quite cool, because this hole here goes with this peg here. So what I might do is get rid of these big pegs that are holding if I have the roof in 3 parts, I might get rid of these big pegs that's going to connect this bit to this bit, because when we've actually got the model on the table I won't need that. Although I could just leave them there and that will lock it together quite nicely. Now the only thing that this model doesn't have, which a lot of some of the other 3D printing models have got now, especially things like Tabletop World, they've got space to put plastic in the windows. Not that it really needs it, but I'm almost tempted to find a way of cutting some perspex to fit, because that might be a bit of fun as well. But it's a really, really lovely model. It kind of implies there's rooms in the roof, but there aren't. It's all one kind of thing. It's a Hobbit thing, so it's a bungalow. You know, it's one floor, and these are just skylights into the. So there's a bit of room in the loft. So, yeah, I think I'm going to have 3 bits of roof, 3 bits of wall. Actually, I suppose my best bet would be to stick together this bit of roof, this bit of roof, this bit of roof, this bit of pub, this bit of pub, this bit of pub. That would make sense to start off with. The cool thing is that the roof, the way it's made, even with the printing bits here that I can need to clear up, this means that I've got enough space in here maybe to think about doing some LED lighting in these separate bits of the pub. That would be cool. So the whole model will light up. There's so many things to think about. So even the fact that I've got a basic 3D printing model, it's not basic, it's bloody amazing, but I've got the 3D printing model. You could just paint it up, stick it on the table straight away, but there's so much potential to go with it. So we're going to stick bits together, and then we're going to make bases for it. So my best case scenario, obviously, was to put it all together as one model and stick it onto a crafted piece of terrain, and that'll look amazing. But like most wargamers, I have to face the harsh reality of storage and practicality. So I can't do that. I don't have anywhere big enough to store a whacking great big Hobbit tavern. So what I've done is I have made it in 3 separate pieces. I've got hardboard bases, and I have been very careful with the cut of those and used the flush straight pre-cut sides as often as I can to make sure that this would go together really, really neatly when I put it on the tabletop. Fortunately, I mean, this side of the model doesn't have any locating bolts, nubbly bits or anything else. It just places alongside by the side of it. So that's going to sit nicely like that. This side does have 2 locator pins that will lock up and hold the model together, which is about all it needs. Now, I stuck this down onto the hardboard and stuck it together with Bostik or Yoo-Hoo all-purpose glue. It's got a very good bond. I use the bottom side of the hardboard, so I get a better bond. I have got the odd gap from the sticking process, so this one down here, for example. So I think what I'm going to do first of all is I'm going to wield some liquid green stuff to fill some of those holes. and maybe a little bit here too. I really love this model. I love the timber detailing. Then there's going to be plenty of room for plaster paint. Inside we've got this great different kind of like floor textures. So we've got a different texture here to here. So paving stones and then wooden floors and various other things, which is cool. It's going to be good fun to paint, which makes a change. So I'm going to wheel the green stuff, and then I've also made the roof in 3 parts as well. Now the roof, interestingly, doesn't line up the same way as the main parts of the model, and because of the nubbly bits here, they actually lie across other parts of the model. So I'm going to probably, for ease of use sake, do away with some of those. They are a bit of a pain in the bum to try and fit it on without looking really careful. So I can get rid of some, although it does help to lock the model together. But yeah, I want to be able to easily take them off and put them on in gameplay. So and again, they've got these great locating knobbly bits and matching holes, which is great if you're assembling the model permanently together as a thing. But actually, from a gameplay point of view, I'll probably use one to help locate the bits. But on the whole, they don't need as many, so I'm going to lose those, I think. And then that way there. And again, because yeah, look, I mean, when this one's locked on, I can't push this one in here because it's not really designed for that. So this is not a designed floor. It's a use floor. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to probably lose these 2 bottom locators here. Put that in there. That will help hold it in place. But then that won't be so bad. And I'll do the same over the other side as well. And again, I had to go out and leave this so you can see I've got some gaps where the roof joins. And although I could live with that, to be honest, for the amount of effort it would take, I'm going to play with some liquid green stuff to see if I can fill that a little bit. So that's what I'm going to do first of all. Then when I've done that, you can see that the hardboard base mostly fits. Due to the nature of the way this works, this bit over here doesn't line up nicely with this, and what I'm probably going to do is cut off some of this base, so it will work nicely from a sculpting model point of view. And I'm not going to have straight edges. I want to be able to chamfer it down and cut it off, but I will have a paved area out here, and then we're going to sand it all, and we're going to have some features outside. So I've got a bit of room for modelling some bits on the outside, which is quite important really, for what I want this model to be, because I don't just want it to be the model stuck on a base and got on with. I want it to be a little bit more than that, because that's the Magrathea way. This is the way. So yeah, it's kind of cool. Coming along, I'm going to have a play with some liquid green stuff and see what it does. Alright, now I'm no expert with liquid green stuff. I've watched a few tutorials. I've played around with green stuff, but I've never really used liquid green stuff before, so this is a bit of a kind of experiment for me really. Trying to get the camera. So I've got a bit of a gap here in this doorway, which I want to kind of cover up, and I've got the odd bit which hasn't printed really well, so I'm basically going to go wherever I've got connections, unless they're absolutely flush, which I'm not, which I think is more a point of my gluing rather than the model being made. See what I can do. Right, especially on the inside. We're getting this here, look. Here we go. I'm using a brush to put the green stuff in place, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to come back to it, file it or sculpt it a little. Now, in most cases I'm just using it purely as a filler. Now, if any of you are experts with liquid green stuff, I'm willing to accept tips and advice Tell me what you think. What's the best way to use it? Do you use liquid green stuff? And if so, whoops. If you do, how is it best to be used? There we go. Put some under the bottom there. I mean, I'm not a big fan of green stuff, period, to be quite honest. I like it with the old conversion thing, but I'm not very good at it. I don't think my arty talents lay that way. But what I want to do right now is just fill up some of these more visible gaps. Spread some of this round, I suppose. I mean, like here. A gap in the floor here. That's not a gap, that's the up the top there. So I'm going to try and get some green stuff into this gap. Work it in there a little bit. I've never really gone to this much level effort with a model like this before, but then it's a cracking model. Deserves, I think, some extra effort. So I'll put that green stuff in there, which I think is going to be alright. And then I'll do a little bit carving after the fact. The joint at the back you can't really see, so that's okay. Come around this side. There's a bit in this wall here, so I'm going to, you see that there? Yeah. Put some down there. But like I said, I think it's probably me. I might have stuck this together with the wrong stuff really. Maybe I should have used super glue with a spray activator, which would have got a quicker, faster bond, which would have given the model less time to separate when drying out. I'll go up there like that. Paint that into that crevice. I mean, it's going to be around a... Get one over this side too. This is actually a bigger gap over here, so I'll try that. Down there, yeah. Crap gluing, I think, rather than the model. When I dry fitted it, the model fitted together really perfectly in my hand, so... Okay, now we have green stuffed most of the roof. What I can't, of course, green stuff is the this gap here and this gap over here, because that's where the bits go together. I've also reduced the number of pegs that are holding the roof together, because I want to be able to take off individual bits to play with and leave other bits of the model on. It annoys me when you get scenery where you take it all apart to play in it, so if I only have to take a bit off, that's great news. So there we go. So that all lines up nicely, and this bit lines up nicely over here. I'm going to leave all the green stuff to dry overnight, go off completely so I can do a bit of work on it, and then I'm going to cut out bits of the board. Fantastic. Okay, so here's the base cut out. Nice shapes here now. This is going to make the whole thing, I haven't said it yet, this video, more whimsical. It'll fit nicer on a countryside base. Now I need to sand this, and I'm going to put some paving stones in. So I'm going to put some paving stones in over here by this door. I'm going to put some paving stones in behind the back door, and I'm going to have a larger paved area here, and then the rest is going to be sanded. and then I can start putting detail on top. This is where I get to make this model mine rather than just the one that's come from IGS. But it's looking pretty cool. I'm very pleased with this. I've learnt a bit about green stuff, liquid green stuff. I need to fill a little bit more because it's gone in settled, so that's kind of cool, but we're getting there. Nice. Coming on. Okay, so this is the middle section, the biggest section of the model. And I'm putting stones outside the brilliant front doors. The doors are really cool. They sit inside these really lovely arches, and they're held in place by they're on hinges made out of filament. So they look really nice. So all I'm going to do is use multi-purpose adhesive. This isn't like block paving. Randomly putting the glue on doesn't really matter too much. I'm just going to basically place stones on. If there are gaps in between, that's fine. And everything surrounding is going to get covered by sand anyway. So from that point of view, pretty cool. I don't want it to look super neat and tidy like I've had someone come around and pave my driveway. But I do want it to look like they've gone to some effort to do this. Kind of cool. So, but I'm not flapping around with exactness. I'm just plonking them on roughly to make them fit. If there's the odd gap like there is here, it doesn't matter. That's just going to get filled up with sand. Paint muddied. In fact, I'll probably have some mud go over the top of it to be quite honest. This is how we end up looking at the front. Almost come to the edge, but this will all be mud and earth. The rest will come around the back of the building now. And a smaller version, kind of like hints at a backyard kind of thing. This model is so big, it really should have outhouses. Storerooms, stable, that kind of thing. And the central part of the model has also got a third door out of what is clearly a kitchen. It's out the back of the bar, so we're going to have a few paving stones here as well. Okay, stonework done several days later, post Christmas. Haven't done the sand. The next mission is to sand all of this, so sand all the way around here in between all the cracks. And that way, when that's done, I can then start adding all my own details on the outside. I want the old bench to sit on. I want buckets with water in. I want a pile of wood outside the back door, the kitchen, and a couple of other places we want stuff. So I'm not going to bother filming me putting sand on hardboard. Followers of this channel will have seen me do that a number of times before. If you've never seen me do it before, go and find another video of mine and watch it, or imagine I'm going to slap glue on here and I'm going to put it in sand. I mean, it doesn't get any easier than that, frankly. But it will start to bring the model together, which is kind of cool. So here we are now, with the base completely sanded. Very fine sand, but it's enough to be able to paint. And to be quite honest, if I wanted to, I could just put the lid on and paint this and it'll be ready to go. The model itself does all the heavy lifting, to be quite honest. It's just absolutely brilliant. I'm just so excited to get this on the table, but it wouldn't be a Magathea build and it wouldn't be right if I don't add a few bits and pieces to it as well. Like I said, the quality of this print, or the quality of the model in the first place, is just brilliant. And at this point I really, hang on, I'm just going to lock that lid together like that. Could happily just get on and play. If I was in a push now and I had to get all this done and onto the tabletop, I could just go for it as is. I've only got two visible lines in the model and I can't really do anything about them because of the way I want to be able to play with this model. I want to be able to take off this roof section but leave the rest of the model covered up, or take off this roof section leave the rest of the model covered up, or even in some cases be able to kind of like work out, take out the middle section and leave these two bits of the model covered, just so we can see what's what. I think it's got a lot of potential from a gameplay point of view that way, which is kind of cool. I'm loving it. I'm loving it. I'm loving it. Loving it. But now I want to do is to add some stuff around the outside, in this yard out the front maybe, and around the back. Some of that I'm about to go digging through the cack for. Digging through the cack. And in other cases, I'm going to make a few bits out of balsa and bits and pieces. I want some wood piles. I'd like a well. I think I've got one kicking around somewhere. And some other bits. It needs the odd barrel stuck out the back somewhere. But I really am just tarting this up. Like I said, this model is brilliant in its own right. So from that point of view, I could just leave it alone. But I'm not gonna. Okay, now the problem with doing the detailing on this is some of it is all kind of got to happen till after I paint it. But I have done some digging through the cack. I've come up with this well, which is really nice. I reckon if I'd looked around enough, I could have probably found various features I could have got from iGate Scenery to get on this, but I did. Well, not that clever, so I didn't think of that. This is a terrain crate. Well, nice size. It goes really well with. He looks around the workshop, can't see a sodding hobbit anywhere. Goes really well with both the hobbits from Warp Miniatures and from Lord of the Rings. Lord of the Rings one's of course a little bit smaller. This is an old school workshop one. But look, that's a good size. So that's kind of cool. That's definitely going to go out the back somewhere. But I'm going to paint this separately and then just stick it on. So now, instead of digging through the cack for more details for a minute, I'm actually going to just hit some balsa wood and I'm going to make a log pile, a log store out the back somewhere. Hang on, let's just turn this round. Oh, now looking at the back of the model. So there's a back door into the main lounge here. Thank you. I'm now looking at the back of the model. There's a back door into the main lounge here, which is nice. And this is the kitchen, and there's a door out from the kitchen out into the backyard here. So really there needs to be this would be probably quite a good place for a well to go, to be quite honest. But there's not enough, not really enough room on the base for the well. I think the well's going to end up being over here somewhere. But I could get a little log store in this corner. I mean, that's quite a neat little kind of cubby here. So I reckon this will be a really good place for a little kind of like log store. If I build it across this gap here, a little roof in there and a whole pile of logs under there, that would be a really cool place. So the hobbit who's doing a fight could step literally out of the back kitchen, and there it is in that yard there. That's quite kind of neat. So I'm going to get rid of these two bits. You can't see that. This bit over here and this bit off here, so I'm only going to have the one bit on the table. I'm going to get some balsa wood out and we're going to give this a go. There's my log store just outside the back door here. Right, and now what I need is a pile of logs. So I'm going to cut up a bunch more of this square section, going to rough cut it and just pile it up there. Alternatively, I could go out and find some twigs, but nah, bollocks. There voila, my log store. I could have lowered the roof a little bit fact, I might actually in a minute adjust it down a little bit, but on the whole, it's quite cool. I could have loads of logs piled up in there. Plenty of firewood. Nice little addition. Let's bring back the other bit of the pub that it aligns with. I don't know which bit it aligns with. See how that works. Here we go. Hang on. Wait a minute. Yeah. Now look, that's a fun little quirky bit now going in there underneath that, especially when I stick this with a bit of roof overhanging back on there. That's kind of cool. It's a completely unnecessary detail I didn't need to do, but frankly that's how, you know, how I roll. This is what my modelling is all about. It's a nice little kind of like detail back there. I might put a log here with an axe next to it that's been used to split all that firewood. That's cool. I like that. I think we need a bench or two set out here. And now I'm going to put the odd kind of barrel out here as well, I think. But again, I really think I need to paint this first before I do stupid things like stick barrels on. And I've decided I've got, even where I've used liquid green stuff, I still don't like this crack here. This line I've got going up there in the woodwork. So I think I'm going to have a plant with a creeper going up there, just to cover that up, because it's going to piss me off. Well, that took flipping ages. Oh my god. I love this model. It's great. It's a really cool model. Very happy with it. My only gripe thus far is it's kin huge, which means it took a long time to paint. I've got it to the point where I'm kind of happy with it. I could spend hours doing details, but look, down here. Here we are. In fact, let's bring the camera over here. Let's have a quick look. I'm now at the point where this model is now painted to a tabletop standard, all right. Inside, and out. So we've got nice terracotta floors in most of the building, but wood floor in the little rooms up there. There could be bedrooms or snugs, and a wooden floor down here, and a wooden floor in this storeroom. There's the bar. The fireplaces need painting still. The outside is all kind of creamish. Stones, paving stones done. I'm now at the point where it needs flocking. Now I'm just going to put this roof away. The roof I'm really kind of pleased with. Check out the roof. The roof is nice. The thatch looks okay. Yeah, we're at the point where it really works. What's next then? Well, next is the point where we take this model, which looks kind of cool, and we're going to make it much better for the tabletop. So that means now I've got the actual model itself, I need to flock the base, and I'm going to start adding loads of little details. All those things I dug through the cack for, which I've now lost. Barrels and benches, that kind of thing. The well that's got to go on the outside, I've got to put plant life on it. I'm going to now make it look like a lived-in model, which is the exciting part. Loving this model. It's absolutely pigging great. But yeah, it took a hell of a long time painting. Let's have a think. Well, I don't go on the RAS very much, so I didn't do anything on New Year's Eve apart from paint this model. And New Year's Day as well. Quite a lot of painting this model, and yeah, even some of January the 2nd too. Yeah, it's not even a complicated paint job. There's just a lot of it. But now let's get on with the detailing. Flocking first, and then plants. Okay, so this is my current box of plants and stuff. We got pumpkins and kind of like flowery things and hops and more cornflowery things and rushes. Oh, these are kind of like cool little plant pots. These are all railway model plants. Some of them might not be much use. Like, look, there's corn there for a start. But they're all going to be cool. But first of all, we're going to flock. And flocking this model, I'm going to use my standard flock, which is a Woodland Scenics Forest Green, I think it's called. Oh no, blended turf. Green blend. This is from Woodland Scenics. I use a lot of this. This is what I'm gradually flocking all my Realms of Battle with. And some of it will have some thicker turf mixed into it as well. That will give a bit of variation in different sizes. But first of all, I'm going to use just regular flock. I'm not going to flock all of the brown because some of the brown actually will end up with areas that are not brown. Or dry brushed it all, kind of. So I'm going to do a bit at a time. Green bits and brown bits, these will have green bits in here. I'm going to put more bushier bits around the base of the wall, especially in the odd kind of case where the nature of a 3D print means you don't always get a 100% fully flat base. Sometimes you get the odd corner lift. So I'm going to put a bit of clump fab of material around that, especially as I think this was a trial print. Although they've got it dialed in really, really well, there's the odd little bit that can be improved. So with the addition of flock. So that's what we're going to do. So I'm going to get this big bit out of the way for a minute. I'll do that in a moment. And all I'm going to do is take a Mod Podge and a brush. I'm going to paint the Mod Podge on and I'm going to flock. So, a bit at a time. Using a plastic box that most of it will hopefully fit over, that'll do. Cool. So, here we go. Nice, simple, fast solution, and I'm using the same flock that I use on all my bases, so on the whole it should fit without too much of a bother. Okay, now I'm flocked up. Woohoo! I'm quite pleased with that. I didn't put any tufts on first though. I'm going to have to go back and do some tufts, but I'm going to do some other plant life. Definitely going to put some kind of creeper up here and across here, mainly because I still haven't managed to fill that line where these two bits of the model go together. I'm not happy with that. I mean, it's no big deal, but I want a little thing creeping up there. It'll be kind of cool. So now I'm going to look at that. We're going to look at other bits and pieces. Okay, so this is the well I'm going to put on this model. This is a Mantic terrain crate model. I suppose if I looked hard enough I could have found one at Irongate Scenery, but frankly I'd already got this one, so I've painted it up and I'm going to put that on the back of the model out here. I'm going to stick that on in place and I'll put some plants around the base of that to bed that in, and that's going to look quite nice out the back. Apologies if you're getting a whirring in the background this afternoon. It's the 3rd of January today. It's about, I don't know, 4 o'clock in the afternoon. And it's pigging cold, so I've got a heater going in the office today because it's cold out here. So a Yoo-hoo glue on the base of the well. Up down here. Okay, so sticking this onto the baseboard. So I'm going to find a few plants that I'm going to put around the base of this now to help blend it into the base, because at the moment it looks very much like I've just plonked it on there, which is exactly what I've done. So here's some more woodland scenics foliage. Let's go around the other side. Now I'll put a little bit around this side too, and also a plant with a flower on it, some kind of thing, just to add a bit of colour. Yeah, I'm hoping just to add a different colour, because this is a dark green foliage. Probably, I think, from a pine tree kit that I never used. But it will give a nice blend, nice kind of contrast to the flock and everything else. Add a different colour. Here we go. Down there. Just going to help blend in, make it look more like it's part of the terrain. Sticky little fecker. There we go. Now these tiny little things, these are paper, these are really cute. 00 gauge flowers. The problem is the stalks normally would get stuck down to the base, which I'm not going to be able to do, so what I'm going to have to do is cut the stalks off and stick them into glue. Fold out the leaves a little bit, tease out the leaves, pin vise, just so they're a little bit more dynamic and interesting to look at. Stick that down into this lot next to the well. Add another little bit of dark green flock there. Right, so here's our well now. Stuck in a couple of flowers in there, some nice little bits of foliage. I now need to dig out my boxes of fabled fay grass tufts and add a few of those, I think. Right, so this is my collection of tufts from fabled fay that I've still got kicking around, a number of different types. And again, I'm using this for a variety of colour. I've got some stony tufts here and some big splodgy ones. I don't know whether we're still doing these with white stony and static grass, so I'm going to use some of them, stick them on around about the place. That'll give again a different texture to parts of the base. Some around the base and some on the scrappy brown bits. Okay, so here I'm going to use some Gauge Master. These are OOHO Gauge Master pot plants. They're really cute. They're like little pots with flowers in, and I'm going to stick them on either side of the door because, you know, why not? It's Halfling after all, and it's in the Shire, and the Shire is supposed to be nice and lovely and nice. So if I get into the pack, I've used some of these on one of my other Halfling gaffs. So I'm not going to use this Gauge Master thing, so I can't get the damn things out of the packet. Right, okay, here we go. Now, I'm not being particularly picky over which ones I use. Oh, I'm going to use the ones that ping out first. I'm going to use this pair of clippers very gently, because, oh shit. Whoops, it was going really well. Then I dropped it. Try that again. I'm going to use this pair of clippers to very gently just drop that in place at the door there, like that. Nice. That's kind of cute. I'm going to do another one. Bite. Because, you know, why not? Like that. Two there on that side of the door. And then I'm not going on this side because I'm going to put that plant in there. So I'm going to run some glue across here and down the front there and in here and up there and around here a little bit, and I'm going to see what happens. Literally kind of like drawing a tree with Yoo-hoo. And then I'm going to take again some of this dark woodland scenic foliage, stick it in at the base of the door like that, which is nice, and then we're going to just run up, go across here, so it runs up the front like that. That's looking kind of cool. The problem is, in the end, is that when you get a multi-part kit like this, there is absolutely no way you're going to get rid of all of the lines that join all the bits together. So your best bet is to try and disguise said lines best you can. And this is one way of doing it, and it works really quite well. So I'll put some glue down the bottom, up there. I'm not covering up all of the woodwork, don't want to lose all the woodwork, but I am using a whole bunch of this stuff, and I think that's going to look pretty cool. Let's bring the camera around there just to focus zoom in on this doorway there. Green door, plant on there, lost the gap completely, pot plants down there. Could have a third pot plant actually, that might be quite nice. Okay, so I've kind of like finished. The paint's done, the details have been added, loads of details. I could keep adding and adding and adding, I'll get to that in a minute. So what we do very quickly, I think, is have a look at some of the details of things I've added to the outside and the inside of this model. And then I'm going to get out some B&B figures, some Middle-earth figures and some Arcworld figures, and we're going to put them on there and see what it looks like with all those three kind of like different fantasy ranges, because I think they'll all look pretty cool with it. So, right, okay, let's come over here and have a look at the different elements let's have a look at the different elements and details I've added to the model. Right, first of all then, now the front, you can now see it's all flocked up, and I'm happy with the front entrance with flower pots and creeping plants there, tufts and foliage in various places. Quite nice. This little bench, there's this little wooden bolster bench just down here, which is kind of cool. That's on the middle section on the front. I haven't added a great deal to this end. You can see I've now added flock to parts of the roof as well, so there's moss in various places. I haven't added much at all really to this end. There is scope for more additions around the outside, and of course in most games what I've done is I've kept it fairly clear, but I could easily put scatter terrain on one way or another. So then at on the other end, the other side, front here, little bush there. I've got to put some foliage around the bottom of that to hide that. That's one of those. And then round the back, we've got and a couple of beehives as well. Again, I was thinking of adding some more plant life and bits and pieces. I could have the startings of a garden here, but again, I want to keep it fairly free. I could put scatter terrain on there fairly easily. And then round the back of this model, this part, hang on, I'm just going to... Then around the back of the central section, I haven't added much. Here's the log store, and there's a little bucket out the back door there. So that's the outside. Reassemble it and then take the roof off. Inside of the model then, I've got flame details in the fires and bits and pieces. I've added, on this end section here, I've got 3 chairs set around that fire. I'll talk about whether they're fixed in or not at the moment. I painted those up specifically for this. There's the odd bed in here. I've got other beds that is not stuck in at all, but there's a bed in this just to show this could be a bedroom. These little rooms could easily be snugs where people have private meetings, a classic kind of like D&D kind of location. And then in the central section, we've got an equipped kitchen here. So there's a table with various bits and pieces on it, and a little baking oven next to, I don't know how I can see that there, next to the main fireplace, and that is stuck in. And then we've got here, I've decided that this is a pantry, so we've got a set of shelves back over here with various bits and pieces on it, and crates and stacks, and a box of potatoes and various other hobbity things here. And then there's one barrel of beer that's stuck permanently on the bar. Now, and then going back outside, out the front of the model, I have a green dragon pub sign. There it is. Let's just find a box or something and put it against so it stands out better. Here we go. Now, the actual kit that you get from Iron Scenery has actually got a pub sign, a freestanding pub sign that goes outside of that. But because this is a kind of like a test run, I didn't get one of those, so I had to make my own pub sign. And your old school players might recognise the dragon, which is mostly a Mighty Empires dragon from 2nd edition Mighty Empires from Games Workshop from many years ago. But when I go and found it, the tail had broken off, so I've added another tail to it, kind of like a spiked, forked tail on the back end. And then this is mounted on a 40mm base, which has got a 2p and a 5p piece stuck underneath it to give it a bit of heft. And then the actual pub sign is made out of balsa wood. I made this separate because when I play Middle-earth games, it's going to be the Green Dragon. When I play Arcworld games, it'll be the Green Dragon. But when I play B&B games using this, if I use it for B&B, I don't think they have dragons in the B&B kind of canon. So it will be a different pub. I'll have to have a different pub sign. Of course, the interesting thing about adding detail to a model like this is that it's like, how far do you go? My first thoughts were, I'm going to stick loads of stuff in. It'd be really cool. I could fully detail the inside of that. And yeah, I could jump on the IGS website and probably order a bunch of stuff from that. And I've got, as I'm sure many viewers will know, I've got loads of different kits and bits and pieces that I've used. And in here I've used stuff from Irongate Scenery, yeah, but also Mantic Terrain Crate, and from who else have we had? Bad Squiddo Games. There's different bits of things in there from all over the place. And only some of it actually inside have I stuck down anyway. The stuff on the outside that I've just shown you is stuck down, but then I've left a lot of space out here to add scatter terrain and various other things. And on the inside, a lot of that stuff is only blue tacked down from a filming point of view, because I could find more stuff to go in there. I could have carried on putting more and more bits and pieces in. There's loads of things. I mean, look, I've got little sets of tankers. These are really lovely. I think they're from Green Stuff World, could be, or might be Bad Squiddo. I can't remember. They all need cutting off and painting, sticking on, and they could go on the bar. That'll be fine. I've got barrels and tables, and just literally here on the desktop here, Mantic Terrain Crate tables and various other things. Don't necessarily fit Hobbit sizes, mind you, but the problem with that is the more stuff you stick in, the less room you got to game and actually move figures around inside, especially as for the Lord of the Rings figures, they're okay, they're mostly on 25mm round bases, but B&B figures, the smallest figures are on 32mm round bases, and the same with Arcworld figures as well. So you're actually squeezing out a lot of the actual playable space if you fill it full of furniture. So I am tempted to keep rooting through my various CAC and various kind of scatter terrain boxes, fill it up for a photo shoot at some point, but from a gaming point of view it's done. Now the only other thing I haven't done to this model, and when I set this up and shoot with some kind of like scenic stuff, you know, that saucy bit I do at the end, I will put some LEDs underneath the roof to maybe light up the windows, so there's some flickering lights and that kind of thing. I haven't done that as yet because this year in 2026 I want to explore LEDs a little bit more and get better at using them, because at the moment my use of LEDs is very basic. It's literally an LED and a battery holder, or not even a battery holder, just an LED taped to a battery and then blue tacked in somewhere. And I'd like to, apart from anything else, with this roof, the underside of the roof here, there's quite a lot of space in the underside of the roof, which is, as you can see, the bit that I haven't bothered painting at all because nobody just doesn't get seen. I've got quite a lot of room here to put LEDs in here that could be wired together and glued in and all the rest of it, and then could just have switches so I could turn things off. So that's what I'm going to investigate doing, but I'm not going to do that. I haven't done that as part of this video, purely because at this point you don't get an LED kit or anything with this model. Although Jordan and the IGS guys, if you're watching, I seriously think you ought to consider selling an LED kit that could go with a model like this, you know, that could come with a bunch of flickering lights, flickering LEDs or whatever else, and batteries and holders and bits and pieces that people could use and stick in the roof of this model themselves, just as an add-on. It'd be really cool. If you're going to all the effort and the expense of buying this model, you might as well go that extra little bit more and kind of like LED it up, which would be really, really cool. So there you go. That's my Green Dragon Inn, supplied to me by Irongate Scenery. It's been really good fun putting this model together and working out how it's going to go, working out the logistics of where the hell I'm going to keep it, how I wanted to deal with it and actually use it on a gaming table. I'm really looking forward to that. It is definitely going to feature in a number of my games this year. It's too big a piece of scenery to not, you know. Initially I wanted to put it into a piece of terrain that was permanently fitted in and sculpted and the rest of it, but that's super impractical because it's such a big model. It won't fit in a really useful crate, and it would have to go on one big piece of my modular board, and I haven't really got anywhere decent to store that and keep it safe. So I've done it in a way that I can pack it away fairly neatly, but it will look really cool on the tabletop. You'll see that in a minute. What else does it need? Well, fuck have I done with that? How else could this be improved? Well, like any decent inn, it needs outbuildings and bits and pieces. One of the things I've got here is this is a as you can see, I'm in the process of doing this. This is a stable from Iron Gate Scenery. Bought this one, which is made by the same designers. And that's good. This will be great for my Arkwell stuff because this is where my iron wall sheep can be kept. But I think it needs a stable out the back somewhere. Ponies, Bill the pony would hang out there. Other ponies could go there. That kind of thing. It could do with some other outhouses. And then it needs to be surrounded by trees and be very, very Shire-like. But it is a great, great model. The only downside to this model, well, I don't see the size of the model being a downside. Cost, of course, is quite a lot. I think it retails at 240 quid-ish on the IGS website, which is a lot of money, but it's a bloody great model, and it comes in 18 pieces, and it's well worth it. So from that point of view, do go and check out Iron Gate Scenery, check out their what they can do for you, how they can supply you 3D printed scenery. And this just in, if you want to order yourself a Halfling inn or anything else off the IGS website, if you visit the website during the month of January 2026 when this video has come out, the first 15 viewers of this video who log on to the IGS website and spend over £30 can use the code MAG15 and you'll get 15% off any of your purchases. After that, you can use the code MAG10 and on £30 or more purchases, and you'll get 10% off those as well. And those offers last until the end of January 2026, which is pretty cool. So make sure you make good use of those offers that are available to you. Go check out the IGS website, have a look at what they do with all their different printed scenery and how you can use it in your games. Anyway, let's go and have a look at this little saucy model with all the bits and pieces on it, with all the figures and everything else. So, thank you very much for watching this Magathea Builder of Worlds build, this Magathea Builder of Pubs video. If you've liked and enjoyed this, please make sure you like and subscribe and leave comments down below. There's a link to the Iron Gate Scenery website in the comments and description down below. You can go and check out all the stuff there. This has been a great fun. I hope you've enjoyed it. If you like this model, make sure you make comments about why. If you don't think it's great, then also let me know why you think that is, because I'm very interested. You know me, my opinions on printed scenery and various other bits and pieces. I am a scratch builder at heart, but actually I really like this. I like the thatch roof. It's come up really well. The amount of time it will take me to make a model this big, actually, from an hour's spent and the amount of money you'd spend on buying it if you're scratch building this, you're probably quids in buying this kit anyway, because yeah, there's an awful lot of time in there. For a £240 model, that's £10 an hour, 24 hours. Yeah, it will take me days and days to make this model. So from that point of view, really, really great. So thank you very much for watching Magathea Builder of Worlds as I built yet another pub. I hope to see you in another video very soon. Thanks very much to Jordan and the guys at Iron Gate Scenery for letting me play with this great model, and I hope to see you guys in other videos and at different wargame shows around the country this year. I'll see you soon. Now I'm going to get down to the saucy bit and look at all the different figures with this in. This one over here, although it's probably not going to stay on the workbench, I'm going to have to go and put it somewhere else because I need more space and I need to get a bit arty now with some trees and figures and that kind of thing. Alright? Cool. Okay.